I never thought I'd be a $350 phone type of girl. I've always felt like a mid-range phone wouldn't be powerful enough for my daily needs or have good enough cameras for my Instagram ambitions. I've always sought high-end phones with fancy features. But with a recession raging for the foreseeable future and a sudden glut of impressive mid-range phones, I've begun to reconsider my stance. Now that Google has launched the Pixel 4a at last for just $350, I might actually be convinced. The time for mid-range phones to reign is nigh. When I picked up the Pixel 4a, my first thought was, wait, does this thing have a case on? The soft touch coating on the back felt foreign since I'm used to phones with glossier finishes. It's not unpleasant though, nor does it feel cheap. In fact, the Pixel 4a still feels as sturdy and well made as the Pixel 4. And at 5.04 ounces, it's significantly lighter than the pricier phone, which weighs 5.71 ounces. And I've come to appreciate that lighter weight a lot more as I've been spending more time on my couch reading on my phone. The Pixel has always been a phone that felt a lot nicer than it looked. It's not the most stylish. The Pixel 4a's design is even more basic than ever though. It comes in just black, and that's it. There's no other sizes available either. Keeping to one size and color was part of Google's strategy to reduce production costs. Other mid-range phones like the Galaxy A51, the iPhone SE, and even the OnePlus Nord, which isn't available in the US, also come in just one size after all. The only design flourish you'll get on the Pixel 4a is the light blue power button on the right side. I'm not mad about it. I'm all in favor of trimming the fat for a lower price. Plus, I'm glad Google was able to keep the fingerprint sensor and the headphone jack on the Pixel 4a. Face unlock never worked reliably for me on the Pixel 4, and now that wearing masks is a part of daily life, fingerprint authentication is far more convenient. A headphone jack continues to be important for people who have yet to switch to wireless earbuds, especially if they're on a budget. The camera module on the Pixel 4a's rear is smaller than the 4's, and I like that the power button and volume rockers feel a bit clickier. I have a bad habit of leaving my phone on the arm of my couch, and all too often I accidentally nudge the device, causing it to crash to the floor. Thankfully, the Pixel 4a has managed to survive 2 such falls without a scratch. Whew. Compare that to the OnePlus Nord, which has eye-catching colors and a glossy finish, sure, but is already showing scratches after a week. And that's without being dropped. Turning the Pixel 4a on for the first time was a surprise. I wasn't expecting to see the 5.8-inch screen take up nearly the whole front of the phone. This is Google's first time using a display with a hole-punch camera, and it makes the 4a the most modern-looking phone in the company's lineup. Yet, Google is also playing catch-up. The OnePlus Nord and Galaxy A51 both offer similar screens with camera cutouts, and they measure 6.4 and 6.5 inches respectively. The iPhone SE still sports a tiny 4.7-inch screen with a design from 2016 though. Aside from the shape, the Pixel 4a's Full HD Plus OLED panel is almost the same as the Pixel 4's. Both support HDR and are bright enough to see in sunlight. I enjoyed watching episodes of Sense8 as scenes from a pride parade were vibrant and detailed. I was surprised when I realized I missed an important Pixel 4 feature, the 90Hz screen refresh rate. The Pixel 4a only refreshes at 60Hz, which made things like scrolling my Instagram or Twitter feeds look slightly sluggish. If you've never laid eyes on a 90Hz screen, you won't miss it. But if you're considering switching, this will take some adjusting. The Pixel 4a isn't alone though. While the OnePlus Nord does offer a faster 90Hz screen, the A51 and the iPhone SE are both stuck at 60Hz. For the price though, this is a minor sacrifice. My bigger complaint is about the Pixel 4a's bottom firing speakers. It was too easy to block them when I was grabbing the phone in landscape mode, which ended up muffling and distorting the audio. When they weren't covered, the speakers delivered satisfyingly clear music, Lauv and Julia Michaels' "There's No Way" sounded crisp, although could have been louder and bassier. One major thing that tends to suffer when companies try to cut prices is the camera. Yet, Google bucked that trend with the 3A's fantastic camera, and the Pixel 4a is no different. Throughout my testing, I played a game with my colleague Chris Velasco. Which phone took this photo, the 4a or the 4? He was only right about 50% of the time. It's not a huge surprise considering they both have the same sensor and use similar processing software. But when you consider that the Pixel 4 costs $799, though it frequently goes on sale for $450, it's impressive that the $350 Pixel 4a can match it, even if the 4 is a year-old flagship. I shot flowers, buildings, nightscapes, city skylines, and drool-worthy homemade dumplings, and every snap came out crisp and colorful. The pictures the 4a captured of a beautiful purple gold sunset were almost indistinguishable from those I took on the Pixel 4. In some situations, like with the dumplings, the Pixel 4a produced a slightly green tint, but it wasn't obvious until I lined the photos up side by side. The fact that the Pixel 4a only has a single rear camera puts it at a disadvantage. Both the OnePlus Nord and the Galaxy A51 have quad sensor arrays, although the iPhone SE also sports just the one camera. Google still delivers superior image quality thanks to its clever software, but I do miss the flexibility of switching to a wide-angle lens for more arresting landscapes. The 4a has the same selfie camera situation as the 4 and, as expected, took portraits of similar quality. I miss the secondary wide-angle lens that the Pixel 3 offered, but the solo sensor on the 4a isn't bad. Put it this way, with a wider angle, I could get shots of my head-to-toe look, while the 4a can only get head to knees. It's not the biggest deal, given we're not all clamoring to squeeze into group selfies these days, but if self-portraits are a priority, you might prefer the Nord, which has dual front cameras. One of my favorite things about the Pixel 3a was how well it performed despite using a less powerful processor. Google cooked up some software magic to make Android fly despite the slower CPU, and it's done the same with the Pixel 4a. The phone packs a Snapdragon 730G instead of the Pixel 4's Snapdragon 855, but both have 6 gigs of RAM and feel similarly speedy. I jumped from using Amazon's AR tool to see how various bookshelves would look in my apartment, to having video meetings, to chatting with my friends while watching YouTube videos in picture-in-picture mode, and playing too much The Sims Mobile with no delay. The phone rarely even hesitated. Google's software tends to make up for its basic hardware, and as usual, the company has some helpful tools that make the Pixel experience better than any other Android phone. Most of these have already been announced, like its personal safety and car crash detection feature, Google Docs integration for the Recorder app, as well as adaptive battery management. With the Pixel 4a though, Google is bringing its live caption feature to calls. Previously, live caption offered on-screen subtitles for all audio playing on your Pixel, but calls were a trickier domain. These captions can be screenshotted, and that's akin to having your conversation recorded, which brings up issues of consent. To work around that, live caption for calls will alert your contact that you're using the feature when you turn it on. I tested it on several apps, and each time, Google's generic robotic-sounding voice told the person on the other end, "Hi, the person you're about to speak with has call captions turned on. They'll see captions of what you say to help them listen along." I'd estimate that live caption was about 95% accurate at transcribing what was said, with occasional flubs like, "Does that me be a telegram thing?" instead of "Was that maybe a telegram thing?" I firmly believe that live caption needs to be on every phone. Not only is it an important accessibility feature for people who are hard of hearing or deaf, but it could even be useful in a noisy cafe or a subway station, if we ever venture outside again. For now though, features like live caption, call screening, recorder, and personal safety set the Pixel 4a apart from the competition. One area Google tends to fall short of the competition is battery life, but the Pixel 4a has surprised me on that front. Despite packing a relatively small 3140 mAh cell, the Pixel 4a lasted 12 hours and 26 minutes on our video rundown test. That's just shy of the Nord's nearly 13-hour mark, and that has a 4115 mAh battery. In real-world use, the Pixel 4a easily made it a day and a half. But the Galaxy A51 and its 4000 mAh battery barely made it a day, and the iPhone SE couldn't even manage that. Once again, Google has shown that clever software tweaks can make up for lesser hardware. I've honestly never been this impressed by a mid-range phone. Despite a lack of style and a single rear camera, the Pixel 4a is the only sub-$500 phone I'd consider switching to. Plus, at $350, it's cheaper than the iPhone SE, the Galaxy A51, and the OnePlus Nord, which all cost about $400. While the Nord might have some nicer color options, a faster screen, and a more versatile multi-camera setup, it's not available in the US. Google's software prowess makes its camera shine, helps its battery last longer, and delivers unique features like live caption and on-device recorded transcription. Best of all, it makes the Pixel 4a feel like a flagship at less than half the price. For our in-depth reviews on iPhones, OnePlus phones, Galaxy phones, and other devices across consumer technology, make sure you subscribe to Engadget. And as always, thank you for watching.